It is the 5th of December 1943 and South Africa is liberated. The Ethiopian troops have defeated the colonizers and they had their last stand in the mountains on the south coast, and we have pushed them out of South Africa. The next task that awaits us is going to be an assault against Portugal. So we're gonna get a front line going here, get all these divisions on that already, and unfortunately most of this is not ideal terrain for cavalry. Do we still have any terrain that requires cavalry? This is all forest. This is all forest. So I think I'm going to convert, this is all forest or desert. And I don't think the cavalry divisions are doing particularly well. They have really served us well with their speed, but I don't think they're doing particularly well in the desert either. So we are going to convert these cavalry divisions into regular infantry, because we'll be fighting in the jungles of Central Africa, so there's not really... I could send them here, I guess. This is all forest. There are some plains, but the rest is all forest here. Now we'll convert them. So these cavalry divisions, not you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 cavalry divisions will be converted into modern infantry. In fact, well, this is going to cost us a bit on artillery again, but we'll get everybody onto their lines, and we'll wait for the third army to become available, and then we will start that assault. Meanwhile, the Allies are trying to liberate Greece still. So far their southern advances have failed, and while their relief of the Soviet front looked promising at first, it looks like the Germans have managed to encircle them. They are still holding the port of Dunkirk and Cherbourg, but it looks like they are struggling. Okay, we've got one more division. It looks like they are struggling to hold on to these initial gains, and the Soviets are pushing back against Hungary. So the relief is definitely obvious on this front here, but okay, we're now starting to have more divisions. But yeah, it's not. I don't think it's going to be enough as a Normandy invasion to really liberate France from the Germans. I really prefer if they liberated these bits here, but it looks like they're no longer fighting in these areas. They're still quite busy here, but we will leave them to it for now. We are starting to see troops coming in. We're starting to see these divisions coming in, actually, finishing up their training. So these divisions are going to go into a new army, and that army is going to need a new commander, and that means a new commander for us. Demisi Seged. Okay, you are going to take over that army, and that is what we got so far. We've got the first army, we've got the second army, so this is going to be the third army, and you are going to be the target for all these divisions, and you are going to get a front line along. So these newly trained divisions are going to take these possessions here of Portugal, whereas my experienced divisions are going to push through Portugal here towards the coast. And that looks somewhat sane, I'm surprised to say. Okay, so everybody move. We are still constructing some. I think we can cancel the... Nope, where did we build the airport? We have an air force. We need to get that air force back to train, actually. So you are... Where do we have an air base? I think we're still constructing it. So we've got 65 fighters and we've got 80 close air support planes actually operational. We've got a single bomber, but we're not going to be using it. Most of this is captured equipment, so we are building an airbase, or we will be building an airbase soonishly once these military factories are done. These military factories will help with our equipment situation quite significantly, and especially around artillery and AA. I think that these are the areas where we are really struggling still. And yes, we have air wings without missions. They can actually exercise just for now. So just exercise for now. We might have to trade for some fuel at some point, but for the moment it's all right. And yes, we are once again trying to construct a supply base in this area. We'll see if we get to it, or not necessarily for this assault, but for the assault into the other Western African regions. Okay. Other than that, let's have a quick look at the casualty numbers. 300,000 Ethiopians have lost their life. The Germans are starting to take some significant casualties, actually. Surprisingly against the UK, not so much against the Soviets. The Hungarians also this. Oh no, this is a different war. That's why we don't see it, because the Soviets are not with the Allies, so we don't actually see the Soviets here. The United Kingdom has suffered to Italy almost as much as to just marginally more than to Ethiopia, and the South Africans obviously against Ethiopia as well. The Mexican states have taken quite some losses, and the United States as well against Japan, and for their folly in Ethiopia. So while everybody thinks everything's getting itself sorted out, we'll have a brief look and see if we can actually spot. In fact, I forgot about this. Can we send an attaché? We don't have the command power. Okay, we'll have to wait for that to finish. We can switch proper heritage back, because we're no longer using cavalry. But we have supply combat penalties. Supply combat penalties on core territory. I am, however, looking around if there's anything else. Artillery experience, professional officer corps, quick improvisation, planning speed, not really. Entrenchment, railway guns, no. Yeah, the supply combat penalties on core territory is not going to be impactful. So I'm thinking of going into quick improvisation. It makes kind of more sense. So let's do that. Well, we have the army XP. We don't need it for anything else, so we may as well. And yeah, observe the Greek liberation seems to be making some progress again. So these guys are definitely these guys are definitely pushing back against the Italians now. But that might be because they are busy on other fronts. Any combat going on in Africa? Not by the looks of it. Divisions are still underway to get into their positions. It'll take some time. Support weapons done. It'll take some time. What is this? Did we conquer that? Was that always like that? That wasn't like that, was it? Okay. Oh no, this must have been like that, because we took it off the British. Anyway, what else can we research? We can research better engineers, but it'll only give us better entrenchment. I mean, it's not bad, but do we have anything to do here? Not really. We could go down these routes as well, but I'm not sure if we're actually trading anything right now. We could do the atomic research, but don't have a use for it. Maybe we'll go down Cassia. Let's make better planes. That's a good idea. And we are now just waiting for some of our... Actually, one thing we could do probably. Improved worker conditions. Yes, let's do that. Fascism has been banned. Improved worker conditions, and we could also do region-wide industrial integration, which is going to give us a building slot. So we should be able to build another... Yes, we are able to build another factory in Ethiopia. Nice. That's one way to get building slots as well. Okay, so all while these troops are moving into position, the port guard divisions are finding their places, and everybody else is moving into position. We are just gonna observe what happens in Northern Europe. They're still holding the ports, so they might be able to hold on to this, but it looks like they're also not breaking out anytime soon. So the Americans should hopefully be engaged in Normandy rather than messing with us in Africa. But the Soviet counterattack looks pretty promising. They are about to lose Leningrad, however. The Germans are... Yeah, the Germans have cut off whole areas here. But the Hungarians seem to be faltering a little. So their dream of Greater Hungary... maybe not. Yeah, sure, send us. Why do I have send to that army? I thought I said all the... please go... Yeah, all these divisions, please go to that army. Okay. How long is it going to take to justify on Portugal? 125 days. Yeah, I'm going to wait a little bit still. Because we also have to deal with resistance, especially in South Africa. So the South Africans were not particularly happy, as we can see. They are... they got so used to being... and I wonder if I can ask my friends here for garrison support. They were so used to being a colony that they are... No, they're not having anyone. That they are definitely... Nope, they don't have anyone either. That they are definitely resisting the occupation quite significantly. Oh, we've got someone still on a fallback line here. That needs to go. And you go to that front line. And truck it there, please. Please use the... Please do use the railroads. There we go. Are we having the divisions on the front lines yet? Yes, but I don't know how many divisions Portugal has in these areas. So we're gonna have to wait for a little bit there. I might reduce that to 1, and I do want the airbase in Burundi to be complete. So maybe we'll just we'll drop that off a bit, and let's do the other things first. Yeah. Okay. And yes, at some point we will have to trade for fuel as well. So we might need a couple more civilian factories, actually, to be honest. Can we still build another one there? Yes. There. So build me a couple more civilian factories. I mean, they are not for me, but they're going to be... I think we are going to be able to use them. Bulgaria. Yeah, you don't have any... I'm fine with that. You don't have any possessions, right? No, I don't think so. We should be able to release our first friendly countries into like Djibouti. Should be on 80%, and they should be ready to be released into independence pretty soon. Construction is complete, so this is as far as we could go. Now let us see what else we can do. We can get the improved AA. Maybe let's do that as well. Now, anti-tank at some point might be necessary, but so far we've seen some tanks here, but so far our anti-aircraft guns have been sufficient to deal with them. So, and they've decrypted our cipher. That is great. No, Vichy France, you're not getting a non-aggression pact. How's the liberation of Greece has gone sideways. They got themselves encircled, and I think they've lost their supply ports. Yep, they've lost their supply ports. So that isn't happening. The Normandy invasion is being pushed back as well, They're just holding a little bit of ground around Dunkerque and Cebu, but I am not sure if the Soviet counterattack here has been. Yeah, it looks like the Soviet counterattack is also faltering. So Greater Hungary might be able to expand that back again. How are these guys doing? Are you able to take out Vichy France? That would be amazing. Take that out, so I don't need to deal with it. And they're still attacking here as well. Although it is extremely tempting to continue pushing Italy. No, decline that for now. Because I don't think Italy has any more possessions in Africa. But this is a matter of principle at this point. Yep, send me things, please. I'm happy with that. Okay, my troops are in position. I am just going to need... what are we missing? Why are we missing so much equipment? I think we've lost a lot of equipment during the recent campaign. So yeah, even though we're not actually fighting, a lot of infantry equipment is probably... I mean, we have a good stockpile of infantry equipment. We're using some up for garrisons, but we have a good amount of infantry equipment. However, the infantry equipment is probably not great. So it'd be nice if we could make good infantry equipment as we go. Okay, these divisions are still moving into place. And I think I am going to start justifying on Portugal. I'll justify, conquer Mozambique. Send. Just so we have that ready in time once the divisions are in place to actually conquer this. I have no idea how many troops they have here, so I do want the divisions to be in place if possible. They are most of them are the anti-air is the bigger problem. I can always instantly deploy them and then just send them in green, but they are starting to fill out. And yeah, the AA is missing and some artillery, but we should have a reasonable amount of foreign things at this point. Decent amount of AA, a long list of artillery that we've captured, but good amount of American equipment, and I'm more than happy to take that. So everybody in position to assault Portugal. Well, not Portugal itself. We're just going to get Portuguese Angola liberated. And are there any decisions that I actually care about? Improved worker conditions, notify me of that. And we can't dismantle the Maginot. Everything else, we don't need military parades. We don't do the emergency factory. We don't want to blow up the Suez Canal. No, we're all good, I think. Our war support is relatively low. We could do some war propaganda against the British. Yeah, let's do that, just to raise our war support a little bit. The Ethiopian people are getting a little tired of having to liberate everybody. Understandably so, if I must say. And this is going to take until June. That's not actually too bad. So I think by the time we're done with Portugal, things are going to be moving. Now it's 1944, and the Greek liberation seems to be still ongoing, but I'm not sure if that's a port on their side or if that's the port on the other side. That they should be without supply, but they might be able to take Athens. They are still tenuously holding on, but I think they're about to lose Dunkirk, and Cherbourg isn't looking too great either. And I think Hungary... Okay, Italian-Bulgarian technology exchange, all right. I'm not sure if Hungary is making inroads here, if the Soviets are able to push them back eventually. Can we trade again with the Soviet Union? Not really. We need more steel, however. We can trade with the French. We'll leave it like that for now. Okay, troops are starting to trickle in. We are starting to see some Portuguese troops here, but I have no idea how many there are and how big of an issue that's going to be. How are my occupied territories going? Okay. Why can we not release Djibouti? They are at 80%. What's wrong? Oh, compliance has to go above 80%. So right now it is at 80%. Is it? Oh no, it's not even yet. It's rounded up. It's at 79.6. Okay, almost there. Oh, we're getting assaulted by the British and the Americans in the north. That is interesting. And they are bringing fighters to the game as well. Stop assaulting me. Assault the Vichy France over there. Why are you trying to break me here? They're quite vicious about it as well. So there's a lot of American divisions that are trying to break through my lines here. Let's see how well we can hold, honestly. Do they have... they are bringing a tank division, but at least one of our divisions is able to pierce them. So far we're holding on. I might have to assign the rest of these troops over here, just to make sure that we're holding this line. I was kind of using them as a counterattack in case we get any naval invasions here, but so far this hasn't happened. So these guys are entrenched. So hopefully that's... they have supply. We have managed to connect the railway line with Tobruk. We'll leave it as is for now, but it's an interesting development to see that the Americans are increasingly pushing in Northern Africa, and they're also attacking here. Okay. Troops trickling in here. How long until we have the justification? It's... yeah, we still got enough time. I think they will be finished with their training exercises and ready to be deployed just in time, such that the Fourth Army can make themselves heard. Let's keep an eye on this here, on these assaults, but I think they are not getting anywhere. I want to eventually change these troops into the more powerful divisions, but unfortunately we're still very short on equipment here. So these are only half equipped. They miss support, anti-air, artillery, all kinds of things. So gonna be a while until everything is completed here. Support equipment, we're very low. We might need more. We're building a lot of it, but we might need 3 factories on that. And yes, we are definitely short on steel at this point. So I think I am going to increase my trade with the French. No, 3 factories, please. And that sorts our steel problems, just to make sure that our production is in a good shape. Yeah, these divisions, there are some Portuguese divisions here, definitely. I'm seeing some Portuguese cavalry here stationed now. I have no idea how many divisions the Portuguese have, because we have, intelligence is not one of our strong... They have an army, that's about as much as we know. It's not one of our strong points. It actually looks like Vichy France is expanding here, which is really unfortunate. Not what I had in mind. But look, at the end of the day, I don't mind taking on the Axis as well. But I would prefer not to. I would prefer not having to. But for now, given the American focus on Northern Africa here, look, if you want to do an invasion of Italy, you're clearly capable of doing so. Oh, there they go. Actually, they have taken Sicily. Oh, wow. So the Allies have managed to get across. They haven't taken Palermo yet, but that's probably just a matter of time. But they have taken Sicily. So Italy is getting invaded. And I think that is going to be a huge problem for the Germans and their push on the Eastern Front. They have, however, cleared up Dunkirk and Dieppe here, and now it's just Cherbourg that is the last stronghold in the north. But they have another fire to put out, which is Italy is now getting invaded. Yeah, how does it feel, Italy, to be invaded? And we are getting quite viciously assaulted in the north here. but it looks like we're able to hold that. I mean, if we need to fall back, this is desert. Desert is not a great terrain to fight in. So we're getting a pretty. We can always fall back into the mountains here, next to Tobruk. So that's always a possibility. I just want to have I just want to leave the opportunity open to eventually push, cut off Benghazi and then wipe these divisions out. All right. In the meantime, everyone's getting ready to invade, to take on Portugal. And yes, the Portuguese do have quite some divisions here. I will definitely need to make sure that we have at least the defensive divisions in place, and make sure that these guys are all ready to go. I don't want them to train in the field, because that'll. Let's get better AA, because that costs equipment, and equipment is something that we're really short on. Still have massive shortages on pretty much everything, but we are now starting to slowly build up. We might actually have. Do we have? Well, how's our air wings looking like? We have a close air support wing. We were building an airport somewhere. I don't know where. Where did I build the airport? Oh, up north here. That does not help me against Portugal, unfortunately. But we can use this airport. So what we can do is we can transfer them to this airport here, and we can start another close air support wing here. And that can also begin training exercises. Yep, we are starting to have an air force. It might be small, but it is ours. And these attacks are not stopping. Yeah, I think I might have to send. Let's send 2 more divisions over. Just those 2. We'll assign them to this front line, just as reinforcements. They're cancelling the Lend-Lease. That is all fine. We do have resistance issues, however, especially in South Africa. Yeah, their resistance is significant. They are very unhappy. Okay, provisional government in Djibouti. A long and concerted effort to improve cooperation and compliance between our forces and local civilian authorities. We're now ready to put control back into the hands of the local government. The new government is made up of sympathetic civilians and ready to closely coordinate with us. They have our blessing. So Djibouti is now Ethiopian Djibouti, and should no longer be occupied, I believe, but should be yes, Ethiopian Djibouti. Can we? No, we don't want to give you control of anything. I would, however, love to give these guys, but they're not in the war. At some point, I'm going to call them into the war. I think, in fact, I might actually, because I think I have sufficient, because that'll allow me to return British Somaliland to Somalia, to the Somali Sultanate, which they rightfully own. And then, so we can call them into the war. We'll just include them in our port defense. Yeah, well, let's do that. So the Somali Sultanate will be called into the war, and that should allow me to return Somali Sultanate, give control of state. Can I not? I need to let it tick over or something. Okay, yes, we need to wait until April 6th before we can do that. Okay, so that also means we now need to include them in the area defense, but that's okay. Not a big problem. We have sufficient troops at this point to include them. Decisions available. What can we do? Where is it? No, we don't need military parades in Djibouti. That is unnecessary. So Djibouti is now Ethiopian Djibouti. It's and they can I do anything else with them? Nope. So they're literally their own country now, and they have their own focus tree, and they can build their own industry, which I am very much in favor of. Also because they are technically my subject. They are, what does it make them do? No effects on autonomy. No, I don't want to change your autonomy. They can't declare wars. They are they're trading with me. They give some of the industry to us, and we can build stuff on their land. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm totally happy with this. We keep going, and we should now be able to return. Yeah, we can return. Which one is it? This is British Somaliland. So we can return British Somaliland to its rightful owner, British Somaliland, because they have that is theirs, right? So if I look at this, region, that is Somali Sultanate on all these things. Yes. So let's return that to their rightful owners, British Somaliland. There you go. Okay, perfect. So they are now in charge of that, which is rightfully theirs. So the Somali Sultanate has taken control of this area, and that is good because we want them to be liberated. Okay, troops are still trickling in here. How far away are we from a well, still a whiles. How's my Air Force training going? I think it's just okay, just do pilot exercises until you're done, because I don't have enough fuel for everybody, all right? Yeah, these air wings have nothing to do, but they will eventually be fighting over Southeast Africa against the Portuguese occupiers. So that's all good. Troops moving into place. We have some more. Are we having some more divisions here now, or are they still? No, they're still en route. Okay, so these guys are still. Come on, hurry up. Make your way over there, and that should prevent the Americans from breaking through. They're still fighting the French here. They're still holding on in Cherbourg, and for some reason they're still holding on in Greece. Interestingly enough. Even though I think they have no... Oh no, they have managed to take a supply port. Okay, so that might be why they're still holding on. The Soviets appear to be pushing back. I mean, they haven't retaken Moscow, but Greater Hungary is definitely... Yeah, look at this. Greater Hungary is not looking so great right now. I think the destructions that they're having... The Germans are almost at Leningrad. But the other destructions are quite impactful. And we can... This is going to give us... this night vision 2. This is going to give us heart attack and piercing. Yeah, please. Make us more effective against enemy tanks. Yeah, I think we're good without anti-tank, to be honest. The AA plus our improved infantry weapons are going to be sufficient to making that happen. How's the war here going against Vichy France? Could be better. There's not an awful lot of combat actually happening. There is some combat. It looks like they're trying to get across the river here, which is going to be a pain. But, and here they are still fighting. Of course, we can't really see what's going on. One thing we might do is we might send an attaché to the Germans. Yes, let's send them an attaché. That means we should actually be getting a little bit better of a vision of what's going on here. We have the political power. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're actually seeing what's going on here. Yeah, so the Americans are trying to having tank forces in northern France, but it's not necessarily doing them an awful lot of good. So this looks like a bit of a stalemate. And now we actually see what's going on the border here. Yeah, they're not. The Germans are holding this, and the Allied forces are not able to push through that because they have too many divisions stationed over here to prevent us from breaking out. How is it looking over here? Yeah, the Germans are defending the French territories quite viciously. So this is again a bit of a stalemate. These guys all have no supply. So getting through there is going to be an absolute pain for them, which suits us just fine, to be honest. But it would be kind of nice if there was some form of movement. But yeah, doesn't seem to be happening. So Germany is definitely holding that, and there is some combat here. But that's the Germans attacking actually. So they're defensive on this front. And we will keep cleaning things up. How's my resistance going? Not nice, but it is slowly reducing itself. That is going to cost us a bit of equipment, unfortunately. But we have a good stockpile of infantry equipment, so I think we're good. We're good on that regard. Our justification is almost done against Portugal. So soon we will be beginning the war against Portugal. Yeah, sending the attaché to Germany has given us a lot of insights that we previously didn't have about the disposition of enemy troops. Yeah, Americans, if you had focused on that instead of trying to hold South Africa, that would have been a bit different story. But Ethiopia is is on a liberation spree. Okay, Ethiopian Djibouti has been who's next to be liberated? Anybody close to being liberated? Well, Kenya is going to come up. Egypt, oh, that's nice. Jordan as well. We're going to set the Palestinians free. Sudan is coming relatively close. We're holding everything. So Uganda, yeah, they're all getting there, and we will be able to assist with liberation. How does this look like? Okay, so they're facing some German troops, but mostly, yeah, they're holding a port. They're holding 2 ports now. Iceland has capitulated. Have they invaded Iceland? They have. And the British have invaded Iceland. All right then. How is it looking here on the Soviet front? The Germans are very much out of supply, but that's, yeah, supply issues. On the Soviet front, I'm not surprised here. And it looks like the Soviets are definitely countering. So all we need to do now is just wait for speed it up a little bit until the justification is done. There's not an awful lot else that I need to do. I just need to wait for the justification. Yep, send me, please. I'll take it. Tanutuva issues a diplomatic protest. No. I like to have some insights here. Tanutuva can go and put that where the sun does not shine. Okay. Is there going to be any movement along the front line here? I doubt it. I think this is just actually the Germans trying to break out from this. But that's not going to happen. Not across these defensive lines. Good luck with that. It's not so much the Allies trying to break in, it's the Germans trying to break out. Here they are trying to. Yeah, the United Kingdom has decrypted our ciphers again. Not an awful lot of good is it going to do them, because there's nobody left. Nobody left to use that information, because we've kicked them out. They might make some progress here against the Germans. At least they're attacking, and they're not attacking here. Yep. And these are German counterattacks where they are trying to get across the river line in Africa. Not a great proposition, but it distracts. It's not, the colonizers can go and kill each other. I don't mind. Honestly, that's not a problem for us. How far away are we? 15 days. Better close air support is finished, so we can keep researching better close air support planes, and we can switch our planes into better planes. Of course, these planes aren't upgraded. I don't really have an air doctrine. This is fine. Air Force is not our priority. We are fighting this war on the ground. Why are we having so many supply issues here on the ground? This used to be better. Why is it bad? Why is it bad now? Okay. How much longer until the supply hub is done? Not too much longer. So hopefully that'll stabilize our position here in the north. And there are a couple of Portuguese divisions, but not an awful lot. I think Portugal here is going to fall very, very quickly once we have actually, in fact, no, I haven't given you offensive lines. I could probably do that. I thought I did that. So conquer that, and you have your offensive line. Okay, good. Yeah, I think Portugal is going to fall relatively quickly. Any more divisions I need to deploy? I think I'm going to deploy these 7 divisions now and get them on the front lines. That oh, my general can become an infantry expert. Yes, please. There we go. I know we have no divisions in training. We need so all this is now, all these equipment shortages are now infantry equipment is probably mostly due to garrison problems in South Africa. But I think we have sufficient of a stockpile. Okay, the justification is finished, so we can now declare war on the Portuguese, and the liberation of East Africa has begun. And I think I can literally just march in here because I don't think the Portuguese have an awful lot that they can do about that. Let's see how this... okay, Portugal, we have to be quick about it until the Americans decide that they really want to launch some troops here. I think I am actually going to let the Third Army go on its own and just manage the divisions here. So let's get across these troops and just start breaking them here. And start a general assault towards Luanda. Oh, they are attacking us across the front lines now. Interesting. See if you can counterattack this and just push them back. And we should be making inroads reasonably quickly. I think these guys have literally just given up. So let's go along the coast. Let's see if we can cut them off through the mountains. And how is my other army? Once that, I'll manage this. Actually, you can get air support now. So these guys can give you close air support. Yep. And I think I've got some close air support. We'll stockpile a little bit, but we now have aerial superiority in Portugal. So this should work. Okay, I think there's not an awful lot that they have there. We finished up the anti-air, so I'm gonna go back and see if there are any other techs. Yeah, let's improve our mountaineers a little bit and switch our AA production towards the large caliber ones, which should also help us against tanks a bit more. And we've got decisions that we can take. We have decisions that we can take. Which decisions would that be? It's just war propaganda. We don't really need war propaganda. We already run some. Our war support is very high, and everybody here can just really walk through pretty much Portugal. Which means maybe I will have to take a look at what my troops in the south are doing, but we'll leave them to it for now. Yeah, I think I can actually take this offensive over, to be honest. So stop the attacks for now. See if we can cut some divisions off here in the jungle. And you attack here. I don't know where everyone is moving. but you need to get around these lakes, to be honest, to be effective. So let's start attacking around the lines here. This isn't happening, but I think we can break through here. Do they have any supply bases that it's worth taking? They don't really have anything. I had one port, and that port is now mine. So, and there is not an awful lot else that they've got here. So just assist with the push. And see if we... they are now out of supply because we have taken their one supply port, which means these guys should be relatively easy pickings. And everybody else, just get yourself into place. I don't know where you're all relocating to, but where are you going? I have no idea. But get to it and conquer. This assault is not happening, but we'll have some reinforcements here coming in a second. How's the other front looking? I think relatively good. We are just going to have to unify the front line at that point and make sure that we have everybody get one division to just sort this out. But yeah, I think Portugal is falling extremely rapidly here, and I don't need to do an awful lot of fighting here. I think that is gonna go pretty quickly by itself. Yeah, they have a couple of divisions left here, but they're not going to make it. They're not going to get out of there. Okay, let's cut them off here. Let's see if we can overrun them. Yep, we've overrun them, and they have been wiped out. So that's what we have engineers for, to traverse the forests faster. And I think the Third Army is extremely victorious. Okay. So let's wipe out these remaining Portuguese divisions here, and then we can unify the front lines and sort out the supply here, because the supply situation is not great. There is a port here, but we are going to need a railway connection. So that's the very next thing we're going to be building. A railway line all the way... No, that's not what I'm trying to do. I want to get a railway connection. Where's that supply port? There's the port. So we don't have to ship through. Let's bring it here for now. So we don't have to ship through. Why are we building in Khartoum? Oh, that's the one to the new. Oh, we've got the new supply hub done. We just need to connect it. Nice. Yeah, so so it's such that we don't have to ship things around on the ocean, because that generally tends not to go so well. But yeah, Portugal has fallen extremely rapidly. They had absolutely nothing, so that liberation is complete already. And now I think the Third Army can start taking over this front line. And that is going to be a very interesting push. Yeah, I don't think they'll ever get across here. So I think we'll just start wiping them out at this point. And then we'll have to deal with the Germans later. But they can start taking over this front line. And we'll just wait for the rest of the... I mean, there's no capitulation because Portugal proper hasn't been invaded. But we are taking... we are going to be in a position to wipe out the remaining Allied troops here with extreme prejudice. Once we will have the supply hub connected, and then Western Africa is going to start falling next. The front lines here have stabilized. The tanks are not breaking through. They are making slow progress here against the Germans by the looks of it. So, but they don't have numerical superiority. So I'm not so sure. I think these are actually German counterattacks happening right now. No, Vichy France, you don't get that. They have landed again in the north. So they have done another Normandy landing, and this looks a bit more promising. So it looks like they are about to liberate the Low Countries there. And the Germans are now stuck. Portuguese Angola has capitulated. The Germans are kind of making progress towards Leningrad, but very slowly. and the Hungarians are still trying to fight it out there. Greece, yeah, the Greek campaign seems to not go well, but the Italian campaign is making slow progress in the fields and mountains. But yeah, Portugal has fallen. Why are we struggling to take these guys out? 6. Oh, because they're American divisions again. Okay, can we get these American divisions out of there, please? Please. I would like these to be pushed back if possible. And I think we just haven't reinforced in time. This is a reinforced problem. Let's get these Americans out of the territory that we are trying to conquer here. And I think this has done the trick. Yeah, the Americans are retreating. And the Third Army is on the march to take over the front lines here. Once they're in place, then we can move the whole First Army towards the west. And then Western Africa is going to become the next target for liberation. And we can get the Air Force back on the ground because they are no longer needed over here. We can, however, send the 2 close air support wings over here. And the fighter wing can stay there for now. Okay. So we do have a small air base of our own, and I think we might actually be able to even create another air wing. Not quite yet, but we'll work with these 2 first because we don't have an awful lot of fuel. So can we now please kick these Americans out there? Yes, thank you. Okay, so we've kicked the Americans out, and once the, in fact, that's actually too much. Once the Third Army is in place. Now, can I please edit that front line? This one. Once the Third Army is in place, that should do it. Is in place to take over these positions, then, which I think they are, then we can. So let's clean up the front lines then. These lines get deleted, and we have. Not quite yet, but I think they're almost there. So Third Army needs to get into position. Come on, use the trains to get onto your front line, and then I can get everybody else their own front line. 30 divisions on the lines here. I'm not sure we're gonna have to supply for that, to be honest. We might need the railway connection first. So let's make that happen once we have Khartoum connected. Then Nova Lisboa is going to get, in fact, we're going to go from there all the way to, no, from there, give me a railroad from here to there, to that. There we go. Okay, and that obviously needs to be a level 2 railroad, otherwise it's not happening. There, there. Okay, more infrastructure projects happening. Third Army getting into their positions, and that means I can start getting the First Army positioned along the front line here. And your target is going to be the liberation of West Africa. So I think the days of the Allies in Africa are numbered here. We might just have to deal with some Axis possessions depending on how things are going here, but I think the Germans are counterattacking along the whole front line, and I don't think the Americans can hold this. Yeah, well, they've lost, they're about to lose Cherbourg, and they've completely lost the Low Countries. Wow, the losses on the Allied side must be vicious. Let's have a very quick look and then we'll end the episode. Ethiopia, 336,000 casualties. The German Reich has starting to take some losses here, especially against the British. We don't even know what the losses are against the Soviets, because that's a different war. But we're still right behind Italy when it comes to British losses, and well, about halfway from Japan when it comes to American law. How are they losing so many troops against Japan? Are they fighting in China or something? I have no idea, but The Japanese have inflicted some severe... They haven't invaded them, have they? No. They have inflicted some severe casualties on them and are definitely making progress in China. So Japan is doing well. This might or might go still either way. Don't have a high hope for these naval landings, because I think they are getting defeated. They're having they've taken Corsica and are now landing in southern Italy. So Italy is definitely getting attacked now on 3 fronts. So I think the Germans are going to have to assist here a little bit, and they seem to be en route already. But yeah, we will see how it turns out. But still, more countries to liberate. In fact, no, we don't need war propaganda. Portuguese Angola is no more. In fact, the last thing we need to do now for today is to make sure we're defending the... Hang on. Why is that still there? Make that go away, please. Did I miss a bit? I appear to have missed a bit. And what are these troops? Seriously. Can't even see them. They've disappeared into the mountains. Yeah. So we will cover that. Yeah, we're covering that. All good. And Africa will be free. Eventually. Right now we're just dealing with more assaults from various people, Mexicans at this point, who are trying to mess with us. That's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.